Here we go. Welcome everyone to the Visionaries podcast. I'm Brian Jacobsen here, and we're going to talk all about mindset, attitude, and vision. And today I have a very special guest with us, and she does a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to mention it here. She's a singer, and she also does a lot of training. She's a dancer. She's also a teacher, teaching in schools and such. She writes and speaks poems. And also she does some role plays, but actually I'd like to introduce you right away. Hey, Vanessa, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
It's awesome to
have you.
Doing
great, thank you. Thanks for having me here.
You're welcome. And I didn't introduce you on the last part, and I want to start out with it because I'm so amazed that you know how to speak Elvish. And I want to tap into that. I want to know how you taught yourself to speak Elvish because I don't know any schools that does that. So can you lead on that note? What is that about?
Well, I mean, that's, as a kid, just to tell you the backstory, as a kid, I was very fascinated by, for example, those who were able to create their own sort of alphabet. And, I think when I was 5 or 6 or something, I wasn't really that knowledgeable into are there any other people out there? Of course there were, but, I was like, but as I grew up, I
So what age are we talking here? Are you like 4 years old and you just kick it off right away and you're like, hey,
I tried to build my own stuff, like my own language and stuff like that, but it didn't really work out that well. So I thought, it's gonna, see, do some research, and then I kind of bumped into Lord of the Rings. Super fan of
Tolkien and all the world he brought in there, with the ring, the magic, the
languages. Yeah, it's really fascinating. And then I thought, oh my gosh, especially the Elvish languages. I'm very fascinated by them. I think they sound really beautiful.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about, and I want everyone who watches here, they might be curious about how do you teach yourself a language? I mean, where do you start? It's a different way where you go to school, they have this curriculum, we're going to teach you English, there's an alphabet, and you have books, they have tested it out for many years, and you just follow along, on the screen there with the teacher, he talks and you train it in the group. But what kind of mindset? Because I want to focus on the mindset also that you encourage yourself, right? There's no one else telling you, hey, you need to speak Elvish, Vanessa. You need to speak Elvish, otherwise, you're not going to work in our society here. No one said that, right?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, honestly, it all kind of started for real during my studies at university. We had an English class, and we kind of talked about Tolkien and the use of Tolkien languages like Elvish and the alphabet and all that stuff, and I thought, wow, that was so interesting. And I looked more into it. I started to get more and more curious about, okay, so how do I actually write a sentence? How do I write my name in English?
So that was so I'm going to push in a little bit. So that's the first part. That's how do I write a sentence, huh?
Yeah, or how do I write my name, or do a bit more, I got curious about the backstory of the languages, because all these Elvish languages, they're influenced by, for example, we have Welsh and we have Scottish Gaelic, which I also know a little bit to a certain extent. I taught myself those languages as well.
So we need to go slow here for everyone, because I don't even know about that. So you said you have Welsh, and then did you call it Welsh?
Yeah, Welsh. Yeah, they're influenced. Yeah, J.R. Tolkien. He studied Welsh and Scottish Gaelic, so he builded the Elvish languages and the Black tongue and all that from Elvish, from Welsh and Scottish Gaelic as well.
Okay, so it's a mix of another language a little bit.
Like the Celtic languages, yeah.
Celtic languages. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned two. You mentioned Welsh and then another one also.
Yeah, Scottish Gaelic from Scotland.
Scottish Gaelic. Is that accents of the same language, or is it different? Actually,
No, there are languages. Scottish Gaelic, that's what people speak in Scotland. And Welsh is what they speak in Wales.
I'm following. But what? Okay, so in relation to those two languages, Tolkien, just to follow up here, he made a new language.
Yeah, he made the Elvish languages. And we have Kenya, we have Sindarin. These are like the main languages that I mostly focus on because I think they're really beautiful.
Can you say
we
that
also
again?
have the black
Dropped out a little. Can you say that again, Alexandra? You dropped out.
Yeah. So we have Sindarin. We have Kenya, and we also have the black tongue.
The black tongue.
Yes.
That sounds dirty. Let's write. Let's go there.
Yeah, they're different in the ways that they're built structure-wise. So I find that very interesting. I find details of a language very interesting because it tells you a lot about time and space as well, like how you see, for example, a culture, like a culture of elves or a culture of orcs. We have the black tongue, which is mostly spoken by the orcs.
Oh,
right? And
now I get it.
The Elvish language that are spoken by elves, right? And they tell you more. You get like so many details about time and spectrality and all that. So it's very interesting to look at that.
Okay, so of course so you started out, I want to keep focus on that because after the end of the session here, obviously you're going to teach me Elvish and that's going to be great. Looking forward for it. Thanks, Vanessa, for offering me that,
You're welcome.
No, actually, I would love to if you want to teach me, but I want to hear, so you started out writing and that I suppose was in the Elvish language. I know a little bit about the Elvish language, Sindarin, and there's also another dialect, Quenya, is it called like that? So you started writing it, and I want to know where do you search for information? How do you just watch Tolkien, or does he actually have an entire vocabulary somewhere you can look it up? Can you listen to this?
Yes, there is. Like, there's a lot of information online as well, and there's books written about the alphabet, and verbs, and sentence structure. So there is information about it. You just have to
research it, and then you sit and talk with yourself, and you're having a good time because you can only agree. Or how do you do it? Do you speak into a I got my microphone right, so I'm speaking here. So do you speak in and listen to yourself, or how do you know that you are starting to pronounce it in a way that's understandable and can be recognized?
I think that I listen to first of all, I listen to the movie. I listen to how elves speak and kind of try to pick up upon pronunciation and how they pronounce certain vocals and how they pronounce certain consonants, because there is a pattern in it. So you just have to listen to it many times, not just one, but it's a practice. So you have to keep on.
Good luck with me. I've been listening to the same song for 5 years. I'm still learning some of the. Okay, so really, but Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings is a great movie. So do you have a favorite there? You have someone that you like the most? Is it when you have a character you listen to the most?
Well, I do. I mean, it's not like it's a favorite per se, but I do listen to Legolas. Yeah,
so
I do.
The guy. Right, I got it.
And also I listen to Arwen.
Yep.
Arwen, and there's a couple of others as well. But these two are the go-to characters. Arwen and Legolas.
Very beautiful. So I'm not going to have you speaking too much Elvish, but can you say, what do you want to share something, a word or two? Tell me how great I am, how wonderful it is to be alive, things like that.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, I can say something. It's Melin Le Alan Elan Min, which means something in terms of I love you, you're the love of my life, something like that.
Very good.
That was...
Say it again. I like where this is going. Very good. Can you just one more time? I want to have it completely clear.
Melin Le
Melin Le
Alan
Alan
Eran Nin.
Eranin.
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to hear that.
Perfect. That was very good pronunciation for a beginner.
Very good.
It's very good.
We have a start. So I'm not going to go way too much into the language, but I'm very fascinated with you, and you've taught yourself to speak Elvish, which is just fantastic. And high five on for
high
you.
five.
High five. Yeah, very good. But you also speak English, and I know that's not your natural tongue. It's Danish, like mine. So you speak English, you speak Danish, you speak Elvish. And how many languages do you know?
The French.
French.
French a little bit, yeah.
I'm not going to, that you don't have to teach me. I don't have anything against the French people. I don't have anything against France. I love the food there, but French is not for me. That's I don't like French. But very good, you know it. Very fine. Keep that.
I also know Tolkiens, which is also an Elvish language, but it is a language that it's spoken in the role-play game Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay. So that's 5 languages: French, Elvish, Tolkien, which is also a
yeah, but it's a fictional language. So I mean.
Okay. Very good.
I learned a little bit Chinese as well, but that's...
And some Chinese. They say the first 4 languages is the difficult part, right? So, okay, I'll get after you here. I know some Icelandic, Danish, German, English, soon to be Elvish, right? There we go. Good, very good. So you taught yourself. So that shows pretty quickly that you are very independent on learning new stuff, and also you like to express yourself. And you will stop me if I'm mistaken, but you like to express yourself. You said it's a very did you say emotional language, or how did you? Tolkien is a...
Tolkien. It's an Elvish language. It's an Elvish language. And
okay.
You hear it in the role-play game Dungeons and Dragons if you play that.
Okay, so I can tell you like to express yourself very much. And as I mentioned, as we started the podcast here, and I want to get more into that, you also you're a teacher, by the way, in daily life, when you're not talking Elvish. And I know you have
speak
poems.
English.
You speak English. Yeah. I know you have poems online. I'm going to share that later on. So if you want to see more with Vanessa and her, Elvish, we're going to have some links underneath, a lot of her stuff online, but later with that. You're a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you teach except for yourself?
Well, I teach English. I teach gymnasium students as well, and mostly teenagers. I teach. So I love teaching. I really do. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing to have something and just share that, and someone can actually make use of it, so their lives, they get better, they have a difference afterward.
Absolutely. I think it's such a raw feeling of purpose, like this feeling of value that
it turns you on a little bit, right?
I mean, it's just I can't even, like, I get so I get really touched by the notion of knowledge, that you can give that to someone else to make their lives better. It's just, you're not doing that for yourself. I mean, there's something in it for you as well, but it is this thing where it's selfless act. I love it, and every time I teach, time just flies by like in 0.2, and I don't even notice how the days just go. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, and the look at it, I had students that were very they had, you know, a lot of problems with their grammar and stuff like that, and to be able to, you know, lift them up to like top grades is like, it's the most beautiful feeling in the world. And yeah, it's
Thanks, Vanessa, for sharing that. Actually, I think you have some students that are very lucky to have a teacher like you, and also just that you taught yourself. You might have a lot of experience with how to deal with these struggles we get on the way, where we start to go on a path. We want to develop something, and whatever comes along. Yeah.
exactly, because it is a struggle, you know, to get yourself to know something. And I think that, you know, to help someone get to know something with the right kind of mindset and the right kind of structure, because, you know, we're all different people, and we're all have different personalities and ways of thinking and ways of doing stuff, and you kind of have to get to know someone, you know, and, to get to know you, how did this person learn, like what should I do to like get this person to this
Did you ask me?
here,
Hey, can we go slow here? I like that question.
yes, sure.
Yeah, you got some good pointers. I want to highlight them a little bit. So you asked me, how does this person learn? Okay, no one ever asked me that question in school, by the way, ever. So that's a good question. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? How someone can learn? What did you discover here?
Well, I think that in my experience as a teacher, when I approach young people, um, especially if it's a one-on-one session, I feel like that is a lot better, too, like a better approach, because then your focus is like 100% on this person and 100% on who they are and everything about them. And so there's this kind of a laid back approach of getting to know them. Like, what do they like? What are their hobbies? What do they watch? Um, so getting to know these things about them and getting to know um, these details, it becomes a lot easier to put in, you know, to give an example with something that they relate to, like make it relatable to them, make
Yeah.
it personal, right? Because that's the way they kind of come out of their shell. Because sometimes, you know, like getting to know someone takes a while, especially a young person. You know, some of them are really shy. Some of them are like very perfectionistic. And they're like, oh my god, I have to do that. It's like, oh wait, no, not that fast. So it's about giving them the opportunity to grow and just, you know, guiding them
Uh-huh.
and being there for their own needs and, you know.
So that's a very altruistic mindset. Yeah. It's a very giving mindset. It's a very nurturing. We're here together because it's also something for you. You also are enjoying it, I can tell. And so we are here together. We are doing something to improve, and I really like that. I get all heartfelt.
It makes teaching a lot more fun,
Yep.
especially, you know, when you can crack jokes and you can take a joke and just like, for example, you know, you can analyze a joke, for example, or you take something, you know, say if a student likes, say, heavy metal, and you bring up some lyrics from their favorite band, you know, they'll be like, oh my god, you know, this is really really cool. And I've had teachers.
Do you like heavy metal?
I love heavy metal.
So,
Yeah.
good. So you're a teacher. You do teaching and languages, obviously. I like that. But you also teach. So you also do dancing. So you're also. So it's not just intellectual for you. You're not just someone who's geekish, which is not in a negative sense. I really like people who are geekish and obsessed with what they're doing. I love the passion. And but you also do dancing. And I know just before we started here, we were having a little talk about you also train. So can you share a little bit about why is it important for you to train your body and do dancing, new languages? Can you start to see a red thread in what's going on for you? How have you, because it's a way of living. We all have a way of living. And for me, it seems like you like to express yourself. So I'd like to hear what you put into it and share a little bit with the training. You're getting strong, I can tell.
Yeah. Well, so there is this. I like to focus on strength first and foremost. And you know, when you focus on strength and you kind of build your core and you prepare your muscles for a hard time, because you know dancing is hard. I mean, it is fun, but it is also hard. You prepare your body for that. You prepare it for hardships. So it's, yeah, I like to combine these things. I think they go just hand in hand, in terms of, you know, strength and flexibility and being able to perform well. Because I also like, you know, if I'm not able to perform well, why bother, right? So I'm also kind of perfectionistic in that sense. To get stronger, yes, but also, you know, the dancing becomes easier to perform.
Okay, so you enjoy both sides of it. So you train
Absolutely.
with weights? Are you taking a dumbbell and training? You know, getting some muscles on. And...
Yes, the heavier the better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are we talking deadlifts, bench press, these normal? Basic?
Yeah, all of it. Bench press, deadlift, squats, lots of squats. Yeah, I combine that, you know, in the center, and I also go to, you know, classes as well, you know, with other people.
Can you come
It's
again?
really nice.
Can you tell me that again? You do also what?
Like class training. So we're a bunch of people that just do lots of exercises together. That's
yeah. So you're both solo, but you can also, you know, enjoy team.
Yes, I think that's really cool to have, you know, like other people, especially when you're like 2 or 2 or 3 or 3, and you're like having to, you know, help each other out and like motivate each other. That's so cool.
So, but you very good. So you teach the dancing, Ken, and is that online, or I mean, you do live teachings, I know for sure, but is there somewhere we can see that online? And actually, let just people know here, where are you from? Where are you?
Aalborg. I'm from Aalborg.
Aalborg.
Northern Denmark.
How do you say that in English? I know Aalborg is the way in Danish, but is that also in English? Do you think so?
I think in English it's Aalborg.
Aalborg, yeah. Aalborg. But it's so wrong to say it like that.
It is so wrong, yeah. Yeah. English speakers don't know that double A in Danish is pronounced. So for them it's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little town. For anyone who doesn't know it, it's a little town in Denmark. And Denmark is in Europe. So if you want to go in that route, it's just a little dot on top of Germany. So if you want to find that town, it's northern Denmark. Okay, so that's where you hang out. I know Aalborg. I've been studying there. Do you like the town?
I love it, yes. It's such a nice place. And there's a lot of things to do as well, and it's kind of, you know, compared to when I'm comparing it to Copenhagen, I'm just like, wow, what was like so, you know, down to earth, and I think that the energy is different. I feel like people are different, just like an Aalborg culture around it, as far as I've experienced, but yeah. It's a bit more, you know, relaxed. There's this energy about it, compared to Copenhagen, where everything seems to go really, really fast and like, holy shit.
Everybody's in a hurry.
It's interesting, no?
Everybody's in a hurry in Copenhagen. Everybody has to go somewhere else than where they're at, right? Everybody has to go somewhere else than where they are in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Right about that. And Aalborg is more like, hey, let's have a party where we are right now instead.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't know Aalborg, if you like to party, there's an entire street with just bars where you can hang out, have a good time. That's how I remember it. Haven't been there for some years.
Yeah. It's still there. I mean, I don't hang out there anyways, not that much with all the things that I'm doing. So.
Yeah, because you have a pretty busy schedule. I was like, when I was reading up, I was like the female version of Elon Musk. But then I was like, maybe in a different way, yeah. But you have a pretty busy schedule, because I know you make online content. I know you have an Instagram profile where you also share some of your stuff. You're doing teachings in languages. You are training. You are also doing some. You're teaching dancing as well. You do poems once in a while, and you also have a new thing going on. Is that singing coming up? What
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh. Heavy metal.
Making tunes.
Rock on and you're gonna do it. Oh? Do you have like a secret? Yeah, go voice, no?
Oh my God. That's growling. No. Well, I sing in choirs. There are 3 choirs that I go to. And you know, there's like specific kind of music attached to, you know, every choir. So every choir is different, and you sing different type of music, and it's really cool because
So what type of music are we going into? Is it heavy metal?
Well, the choirs are more say more international, and it's like more rhythmical and more there's also rock in it, but it's more international. There's like pop songs and also 80s music, and there's also Danish songs in there as well.
80s music. I love 80s.
Yeah,
it's the best music
so
ever.
Good. Yeah.
So, spirit, honesty, you know, some
and
feeling.
Funky, groovy. Yes, I love that.
Not too much. No. Very good. So where can we hear more of that? Actually, I haven't seen anything of that with you. So
I have posted that. I have posted one of the concerts that we held during I think it was before Christmas last year. Yeah, where we did some Christmas songs as well, and the regular sort of rhythmical songs as well. And I also do gospel. There's a gospel choir.
You also do gospel?
Yes.
She very also sometimes, guys and girls. There's some sleep involved somewhere.
Somewhere.
Very good. Okay. Gospel. Okay. Well, share. Don't mind me. Share some of that gospel. Was that what?
Gospel. Yeah. Church music.
Oh, are you religious? Are you a believer? Are you? You know, is the father with you and the mom we don't know?
Always. No, I think without like going too much into details, like I consider myself agnostic.
Agnostic, and we can look it up, but that means a non-believer in a sense.
Yeah, but with an open mind towards whatever that can be explored. Like there is no limitation towards, you know, this uncanny thing that we cannot explain. So I leave an open mind towards phenomena or whatever that may be to be explorable, you know, for them to be explored further and not shut it down and just say no, that's not existent or something.
Very good.
Because there's a lot of things, you know, that we don't know in terms of, you know, universal things. I mean, it's so I like to keep an open mind towards.
Yes, I like that mindset. Keep an open mind. Not saying religion is false, but I'm not also saying that it is the absolute truth. I'm looking into maybe some of the things that Jesus said, or the Muhammad prophet said, or someone of the Buddha had also some ideas of meditation on the breath. I've done some of that. Seems quite good, right? To get some peaceful state of mind. So why should I go and say I don't believe in the guy? He has some tools, I can try them out. But to say you need to believe in God, otherwise you will go to hell, I cannot tell where. It's preposterous, if that's a word.
Yeah.
So that's part of your mindset, to have an open mind. I can also tell in your attitude, you have a very optimistic attitude. I don't know many people who wouldn't have just a little bit confidence in themselves, try out and actually learn a new language on their own. Are you stubborn? Are you a pain in the ass to be around if things is not going your way? How are you? How are you at home? Let's go into it.
Okay. Well, I think it depends. It depends on what it is. When I'm doing my stuff, then I just kind of focus on my stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've worked with people like in groups, and that's also really, really cool. Especially if people are on board with the goal and just have this goal-oriented view. That's the place where miracles can happen, you know, especially if everyone has that kind of dynamic, because there's also about dynamics and how people work together. And yeah, so I have a fair share of experience with groups that have worked and groups that haven't worked. But you know, such is life. So.
I think you're putting it very well, not telling how you fight people when it is they're not doing what they Are you physical? What if people are not working on your goals and such? Are they getting dished? Don't you have time for them, or how do you put it? I mean, I have my own way.
Well, I think that I like to communicate about, say, there's this thing about expectations and what kind of expectations individually I have, and, you know, the other people. So I think if we can find a middle ground for, okay, what can we expect of each other, or goals, for example, then that's the way to move forward. You know, because I've had people that I've worked with that had different expectations towards our working routine, and I was like, okay, so let's just talk more about that, because you know, we're people. So yeah, well, also having strong boundaries, I think that also helps. I know myself, and I know what I want, and I know where I want to go. And if that specific approach doesn't work with a person, then that's okay. You know, you can't force someone to be in a certain way.
Well, I have to admit, the first time, because we've met before, right? It's not the first time I see you. Actually, you joined along writing a book with a lot of other people also that we published, and really happy for that. And so I can tell people, you know, if you meet Vanessa in the train, which we met the first time, I still got my head on, so she's not like that. But you seem very friendly. You were very friendly, open-minded, and easy to talk with, easygoing. But maybe that was on a good day. I'm just kidding. I just have this. I don't know.
On a bad day, I'm like.
I have a sense you have a little temper. I mean, with that passion and that drive you have to go for the things you do.
That's why I work out. You know, my bad days and all that energy, it's like training, and that just helps to clean out all the tension, all the
tension. Because you shine when you smile, and I like to see that. So that's good to hear. And we all need to find our way to release that tension. Yeah, we all need to find, because I mean, I'm working, for example, I can give that. I work on setting up everything online, my online course, my teachings, which is very intuitive, works fluently, one-on-one, as you teach as well. I love one-on-one. It's the best. And also in groups, but it's different. Yeah. So I'm setting everything up online, and there's a certain intensity, a certain focus that's needed to shut off all the distractions of the world, not let everyone else want to have your time because you need to do this. And then when I hit a wall, sometimes something is just, I can't see the solution right away. And I have worked on my mindset for years, and there's practices and such, and still sometimes it just comes to the moment like, okay, now I know I need a break. I need to do something, go for a walk, do some training, breathing exercises or something.
Yeah. That's actually really interesting what you said about, you know, when you hit a wall, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, how do you deal with when things don't go your way?
Yeah.
I can tell that I sometimes also get, you know, pretty impatient, because, you know, my mind is like, oh, but I want to reach that point, or I want to reach that goal, or I want to go there. But if that can happen, you know, that's where I also use breathing exercises, and I kind of, when it comes to distractions and all that stuff, I kind of shut down, you know, mobile phone, internet, even just shut everything down and just have a couple of hours where I just kind of sit around somewhere, just like secluded by everything. Just being there and just kind of maybe looking at the window or something. It doesn't have to be, you know, go in the woods or anything else. You know, if you don't want to, if it's raining, you know, you're like very cold. But having a place where you can just sit down, and just be.
Yep. I think that's a great advice to take with from here. At least that's an attitude, right? It's a great attitude to have this complete, full acceptance of that where we are is completely fine. I need a goal. I have to admit, I always need a goal. If I don't have a goal for something I'm building, I will feel restless, or I would say it's my mind running around. But at least I have to work from the place that I accept where I am right now, because I also created the path to be here. Yeah. And I completely agree. If sometimes we hit a wall, we need to take, it's not even a step back. It's more like, okay, I have to look at this wall. Right? Actually, I have a wall where I'm looking here, right? But I have to look at that wall. I have to first, you know, it's like the energy has to reorganize itself. It's a good thing. But we don't have to do it in the woods. It's possible to do it at home.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now I wondered a little bit when we talk mindset and attitude, and we're going to come into that vision later on. I want to tell people what you're doing also and what you are creating and what we can expect more of you to see, because we like to see you. And so the mindset and the attitude, where was I going with that? Do you think in Elvish? Because I think in English sometimes. I don't even know if you have dialogues. Some people, they only think in images, emotions, scenarios. I think in both. Sometimes I have a dialogue with myself in a sense, right? And it's English, sometimes Danish, especially if I'm writing. So do you think in Elvish sometimes?
Not that much actually. I don't think that much in Elvish. I think in Danish, in English, and sometimes in Swedish.
Swedish.
It's beyond me how that can happen. I also dream in other languages as well. Yeah.
That's another thing. I want to tap into that. I want to tap into a little bit what tapping. So
yeah, I also think in music. I think in notes and just constructing or just making a tune in my head as well. And also language. I also have monologues, sometimes in Danish, sometimes in English. Sometimes I think about a certain quote from somebody that has said something, whatever, and I can hear that, you know, in there.
And that's very interesting, the way we are capable of handling concepts, images, tunes, notes, and they all have this, I call it a vibration to it, right? There's a certain vibration to a tune, or some food we're thinking of if we're hungry, or some scenario that we want to see, or a quote or such. And so what is your approach to look into handling negative thoughts, and how would you describe your ability to come in terms of, hey, am I focusing on something that's constructive or not constructive for me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Oh, I think that sometimes it's difficult to, you know, get a hold of yourself, especially when you're in those thoughts. But I think that what works really well is actually having to feel those feelings, or just kind of writing those thoughts down and just like, how am I talking to myself right now? Because it might not even be your own voice saying those, say, critical thoughts. It might be someone else's from the childhood or something like that, or from whatever. So having to note that down, and just think of the next time, like, okay, this, I wouldn't say that. Like, it's like having the attitude of your best friend. Like, how would your best friend handle you in your bad times. They're not going to be saying, hey, you son of a son.
Hopefully not your best.
They're not criticizing
Hopefully
you.
not your best friend. Like, are you fucking not the, what the hell? Didn't you perform today? I'm your friend, you know. You should just perform today when I tell you to. Actually, my best friends, they tell me, Brian, we love to be with you when it is, we can just do nothing together. We don't have to do anything. You're not going to come like, hey, we have to do something, otherwise you're not good enough. It's just, hey, that's what's going on. Great, man. I'm going to join. It's okay. We're going to have a time. Yeah. I like that. I like that approach to say, to say like that with, and also you mentioned writing it down. And I think there's something important. All my practices, we start writing things down from the beginning. When I teach mental health, it's all about journaling. What's going on? What did you just experience? And put that into writing. Because as we put things into writing, there's a certain distance to it. Oh, yeah, great. There's a certain distance to it, but you can't see it. There's a certain
yeah.
There's a certain distance to it, and we can better change what's going on. Because thoughts are so intimate for most people. I mean, in the beginning, in my 20s, I would never have considered my thoughts not to be my own thoughts, right? I would be like, that's my thoughts, all of them. When I'm thinking bad, that's my thoughts. When I'm thinking great, that's my thoughts. And later on, when I found out some relationships didn't work out and some behavior didn't work out, I was like, maybe it's not my, shit. And I noticed I copied behavior from people. You know, I hadn't developed my own. I haven't even asked myself, what do I want? I really like that approach you mentioned with journal your thoughts down, people. If something is not working your way, journal it down and see what's actually going on. Make yourself aware, because you can't change it unless you're aware of it.
Exactly. Just breaking that pattern, because there's always a pattern in our thinking, where those critical thoughts come from or whatever. And just having that list down, just examining it and saying, okay, when does this thought come? And like catching yourself in the moment of that specific thought coming. It's like, oh, so if I have a critical thought, I'm like, oh, maybe that has something to do with something else from the past that has nothing to do with the present. So that's one way of approaching it. And I feel like it has helped me a lot to sit down and like really hear myself out and thinking, wow, this is not me. I wouldn't be this aggressive. I wouldn't be this rigid or critical. You know, I would be like more calm and like more understanding and more, you know, maybe I should just like shut everything down and just like let it all go.
This is it's very healthy what you're telling her. I really like that. When you're telling that, I get all fussy inside. I'm like, just want to shut down the podcast here and just go. No, I'm just kidding. But I really like, no, I'm kidding. So I really like this approach you have by being alone with ourselves. We actually learn to get to know ourselves, and it might even have to do with something as that behavior worked for us before. But when we start to face that wall and we see, hey, something is going on that's not working for me, it's time to reflect a little bit. Hey, what is it that I really want? Yeah? I really like that. Journal it down and take some time off.
Yeah.
That means no TV, no entertainment, right? I mean... Yeah,
no entertainment, nothing, just like...
I have the most convincing mind. Oh, I'm just going to relax for 10 minutes and watch a YouTube video. I really like this one where they're talking about, and I noticed I don't relax when I'm doing that. It has to be shut off the digital media, shut off the telephone. Even just to go over, I've noticed it before I go to bed. I love to take this. I'm going to come into that dream state of yours later on because I have a dream group and want to hear more about it. But just turning my phone on the airplane mode. Airplane mode before I go to bed. My mind knows, oh, now I know it's not going to call me. And there's a relaxation, something I didn't notice before. And that is turning off the electronics before going to bed. It's like the mind starts to shut down. It's like, okay, now we don't have that option anymore. We wanted it to be shut off, and we shut off, and we, nice, relaxed. Just see the room dark. Very good. Feeling. And that's also what you mentioned. And I really like that approach. Feel more what's going on, when, especially when things are not working out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's a reason for things not working out. So having to examine the root cause of that issue. It's
Like that. So you remember your dreams, huh?
well, most of the time. Sometimes I don't remember them, and I'm like, oh.
Okay, but you do remember some of your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So we're having a group with people learning how to lucid dream, and I've been able to lucid dream before. And if people haven't known about lucid dreaming is where you kind of wake up in your dream and you are aware that, hey, I'm dreaming right now, and then you start to have fun at the abilities that you have. So I want to hear, when you're having dreams, are you lucid, or what kind of dreams are you experiencing?
Yeah, sometimes they kind of freak me out, honestly. I've had moments in which like I've been astral projecting.
Uh-huh.
And that is really cool. Just being certain places.
So now I know,
out
if
of body.
On the couch or something, I know, oh, she's just making that joke again, you know, of astral projection. It's not really. Can you tell a little bit about astral projection, if somebody out there didn't know what it is?
Well, I think there's a lot of information about it online about what it could be. Just for me, it's like when you're kind of you're aware that you're sleeping.
Uh-huh.
And you're just taking off your body.
Okay.
You're taking off your consciousness. It's like, okay, I know that I'm sleeping right now, but right now I'm just gonna like go somewhere, or just fly somewhere, or just be somewhere.
Uh-huh.
So you kind of know that you're dreaming. It's really, yeah, very powerful, really, when that happens.
Sounds also very realistic, because usually when I get lucid in my dreams, I have no clue how I came into that space in my dream. I just suddenly become aware, this is what's going on. Mm-hmm. It's not real. You know, it's as I know it. Yeah, so I must be dreaming. Maybe I was going diving and suddenly I could breathe underwater. Oh, that's not normal. Yeah, so I know I'm dreaming. But for me, astral projection would be something more in the terms of, as you mentioned, my body is completely relaxed. I'm aware that it's completely relaxed, but it's like the consciousness or my awareness is not attached to the body anymore in that space. So I'm like flying. You can call it whatever you want. I want to be paying attention somewhere else, but it's then I will be still in the room consciously, and I can move out of the room, but it would be more in the terms of that I'm moving around in the, I don't know if we can call it the memory of the world, or if it's actually the real world, what's going on. I don't know about that. So
yeah,
but that's astral projection for me. That's where it's not a dream. It's more like I'm in the real room and I can walk around in the house or in the apartment, wherever I'm at, or visit people.
Yeah.
Oh, in Iceland or wherever we want to go.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I tried it as well with that sort of astral projection. Being somewhere else, and you're like, what? Where am I right now?
That's quite interesting. So do you practice, does it happen spontaneously for you? Like no, that's a bad analogy. I'm going to find another analogy.
I mean, it could happen. Like if I'm dreaming about something, sometimes it just happens.
Okay.
I don't really do anything particular for that to happen. It's just when it happens, and I'm like, oh, I know what's going on right now. Yeah.
Oh, and you feel very comfortable with it?
Most of the time I do, yeah.
Okay, but let's go back into that.
With the feeling of flying is like amazing, or being able to like lift yourself up, like you're defying gravity in that moment. Yeah. Something which is like not possible in the real world. Uh-huh. You know, that feeling is like, it's that power. Wow. Yeah.
Very good. I like that. I like Flying is amazing, but I do believe we can fly also in the real world. It might not look like that with the body, but as we move, it can feel like flying though. Maybe we can fly. Maybe actually, you know, we're Superman in disguise. Who knows? But what do you believe is the dream state where all the shit comes up? What do you think that's because it's for a purpose? I believe everything happens for a purpose. This talk here is for a purpose. Someone is listening. Someone wants to know. I'm one of them. What do you think that happens when we're having a dream and bad shit just happens? I mean, something is completely going wrong and we are experiencing this emotional state of fear. I would call it a deep fear of something. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Or what do you, maybe you have experience as well to what's going on there?
Well, that would mean that we have to look down in our subconsciousness. That's our subconsciousness trying to tell us something about certain things that are going on, certain scenarios in our lives that are about to happen, or will happen, or are happening. And we kind of like have this emotion about it. And it's kind of a way to tell you, okay, you need to deal with it. Right? It's like telling you if you're feeling fearful about something, or if there's a storm coming, there's this transformation going to happen. I feel like whenever we're talking about storms, or we're talking about natural sort of things, or waves or something, it's like transformation is coming. We're dealing with our own demons, or we're dealing with our own insecurities. So what do? Well, we have to face them if we want to go forward, you know. Yeah.
I like that. I also see in my dreams when I'm having a difficult time, which building this course, oh my God, I wanted to teach myself and everybody else who wanted to join along that journey on what is the laws of creation, not the law of attraction, more the law of creation. How do I keep something in mind, visualize that, and then I create that? How is that working? What's really going on? I wanted to teach myself to do that on demand. And so I built these 9 steps, everything came to me, and oh my God, it's been a challenge. And sometimes I face these walls. So with the dream state, I also believe some things, so my reaction to things that is really difficult is I start overthinking. My mind starts overthinking everything into detail, how to avoid or how to create or something. So it goes into loops and nothing really comes out. My action is not direct any longer. So my dreams, they show me this thing that I'm scared of somehow, or just the feeling that I'm scared to experience in this moment here. My dream state will allow me to be like, that's the feeling you're scared of facing, you know, that's the feeling that you need to embrace so you can move on with what you want to make. And in a dream state, it seems more safe. It seems more safe to experience that feeling than having it a face on in real. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my point was just that I see when you speak about the subconscious mind in the dream state, sharing something that if we were conscious, we would ignore it, right? It's like having an argument with someone and you know all the good stuff will come up, but you're like, it's too much pain for me. I'm going to go, you know, slam the door, boom, I'm not going to face it. I'm going to hide me on my room and I'm never going to talk with you again. But you're silently inside, you're like, please open, let us look, you know, but I'm too scared. Right? Yeah. So dream states can help with that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We moved around a little bit here, a little bit about a mindset. Also, I love your openness. I like that. Talked a little bit about your doing training and how that helps you out. We talked a little bit about your dancing. Not much about the dancing though. You do gospel singing. I'm amazed of all the things you do, Alexandra. I'm just amazed, you know. And we also, you write poems.
I've always wanted to do all these things, and
But it's amazing to see you do it, right? I hear so many people, they talk. I want to do. And I'm like, where is it?
Yeah, so, where is it? Where is it? Yeah.
You're not doing it yet. I mean, you want to do it. How come you haven't started yet? Especially, I mean, it's okay if we come up with an idea right now, hey, I want to do that. Great, that's awesome. And we start finding out a way of doing that. But most people are like, I've been dreaming about it for years. So if you can share something just before we're going to talk about your vision, we also have to wrap it up sometime. I don't have a clock on me. Danger. Because when I like to talk with someone, it goes on like that. So you have an advice on how do you deal with things when you notice, hey, I want to learn Elvish, I'm going to do dancing. What confidence or what attitude, what mindset are you bringing to the table and that you want to share with people there who actually, hey, I also want to do a lot of stuff. How can I make the beginning for doing a lot of stuff? What makes you tick? So you want to share?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I mean, it's having to do like action, like having to take those steps towards dancing. Like say, for example, if people want to lose weight, well, you kind of have to take some, steps to get there. There's a process. And for example, going to a dance studio, get a subscription somewhere, and just be open about, like, having to be open about failure. As in failure in the sense that, if you have a goal in your mind, say, I want to look like this. So that's going to take some time, but having to be realistic about how much can you put out, and just like taking it one step at a time, not being afraid of failure, because I know this is something that we all struggle with. When we fail our project, or what happened when the communication with somebody that we work with just didn't go, or then we have to like start over. And I think that's one of the things that is really, really hard for people to start over. If they worked with something for a long time and things don't work out, and then people are like, very close to giving up. And it's fair. I understand that feeling of wanting to give up and like, oh my God, it takes energy to like get back in there. But that's what we have to do. We have to get back in there. It doesn't matter, because there will be people that would want to do the things that you want to do just because it didn't work out with, the person or whatever. So, and just not being scared of being creative or doing something out of the ordinary. Like say, I don't always have time
like
to
I
train
saw a guy walking naked in Aalborg, it's a very chilling town, and he was walking naked like it was just the most normal thing in the world. I'm not saying everybody here should walk around naked.
No.
I'd love to see it though, but I mean, maybe the hygiene. Anyways, I'm not going to go into problems like that, but I have something to add a little bit to what you said there. I wanted to share with people an experience that we never start over. It's never from scratch, because the knowledge we got from the first thing we tried out was not really a failure. It was just, as Thomas Edison, he says, I found 1,000 ways that didn't work out not to make a light bulb. But it brought me that step closer to actually make the light bulb. It may happen, right away. Which I found out in relationships, for example. I mean, my relationships, they were fucking awful. No, they were not. But in the beginning, they were not. But something just kept on sabotaging my relationships. And I was thinking every time one broke up, oh, now I have to start over. But I realized, hey, I learned something here. I found out something more about myself, what it is that I truly want. And the relationship was beneficial. I especially learned not to judge anyone for being a bad partner. No one is a bad partner. We might not fit together, but doesn't mean that there's a bad partner. It's just, it doesn't fit together. Because it takes two to tango. So I think we never start over, but we really have to get back on it, as you were saying.
Yeah.
But where do you find that confidence, Alexandra? Where do you find that confidence? Where do you have that, stubbornness of meeting up and
Okay. Well, the thing is that I like all these things that I do. I wouldn't do them if I didn't like them. Like, I fucking love dancing. And I dance. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm at home or I just do it. It doesn't matter. I fucking do it. Singing, the same. You sing. Same with learning a new language. Like, look up words and started, speaking out loud. Doesn't matter if you say it wrong. Just keep on going. With practice, you're gonna get there. But you
take
have
action. Take action.
Yes.
So how do you handle it when your mind comes up? Fuck it, you didn't get it yet, Vanessa. It's not there yet. You'll never learn it. The mind is very creative in that sense as well, right? You'll never get it. You spent, I'm not going to say how old you are.
Yeah.
You spent some years. You spent some years, woman. You're working on this. Where the fuck is the result? What are you doing? I mean, my mind can go like that, right? It's like, Brian Jacobsen, you're this old. Elon Musk has 3 companies flying to space. What the fuck have you done? Where you're at in your life. Not that I wanted to create a spaceship. Maybe I wanted to. Nah, not really. I mean, my mind comes up, and I know this is for everyone also out there. The mind comes, and it will tell you. We can call it the devil if you're religious. You can't do this. But how do you handle that? How do you handle it?
Well, first of all, if I get like punched in my face with that kind of negativity, I just let my emotions out. I cry and I curse. I'm just being annoying. I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm fucking done with it. But then I kind of I allow myself to feel that. I allow myself to feel like a failure, because I know that initially it's not real. It's just that it just didn't work out. That doesn't mean that I'm bad. It doesn't have to do anything with me. It just has something to do with my skills, that I need to do some more progress and just get back out there and just do it. But yeah, it is really difficult when that happens. We don't have to like lose faith in ourselves as individuals.
Yeah. I think it's also
we're human beings.
Yeah, I think it's important to have someone to talk to as well. I mean, when I was alone, my friends, they know that I talk. I talk. I have to share what's going on, especially if I have issues. But before I had friends that wanted to listen, I just created an imaginary guy who could listen to what I had to say. And I really love that you say, if you want to sing, start singing. Don't wait for it. It's not going to be a perfect scene. It's not someone, it's a practice also.
Yeah.
Starts at home, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I also think that if you want to, if you don't have someone to talk to right now, there's an internet, and there is a lot of forums out there with people that go through the same stuff as you do, and they're very open and very compassionate towards having you in and giving you advice and stuff like that. So I also do that, if I can reach my friends right now, I just look up the internet and just search for something that's whatever issue it may be, if it's in music or acting or whatever. And I just look up to see, okay, so what do these people do? How did they find peace and acceptance towards the situation, how to improve it? So I think that also really helps us to know that we're not alone, and that there are other people like us that go through the same thing, and reaching out to them. I think the internet is a very good tool to use for when these kind of things happen.
Yeah.
But also in building up networks as well,
It's really good with a network. Because it has momentum. But if you're all alone right now and you have a challenge, I don't even know how you pressed right on this podcast here. And if you're here with us right now, you have lasted for a long time. You got good patience. But the most important thing I say to anyone who is caught in a depressive state of mind is just do anything. I don't care what it is. Just go out, do something. Just move your fingers. If that's the first thing, stand up, have some water, go for a walk, whatever. That needs to get going. If you're in that state of mind, so low, just do anything is helpful. Then the next step will definitely be find someone who you can ask for help if you need that to get going. For sure.
Always reach out, always.
Yeah. And most people will be very, I think it's a taboo. Somehow I'm grown up to have it as a taboo to reach out and ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this thing about always having to be independent, or always having to be you know, as if it's something wrong to ask somebody, hey, can you help me out with this? Or, hey, what's your opinion on this? Or, but it's not going to help, you know, just not asking for help. I feel like, you know, that's,
True that.
but it's very difficult. I understand that. It's just,
Yeah, it's some of the fear because the judgment, but it's funny because it's my judgment on myself that limits me to reach out to someone else. I'm just scared they're gonna say how I judge myself. You know, they reflect that. That's the only case that keeps me from. But also, I think it's very important, and I want to state that like 7 nails down. It's important who you ask for advice. Don't ask someone who's already having issues and not really knowing how to take care of themselves, and so don't ask them for advice. Find someone that actually has some success with what they're doing. Ask them for advice. It's important to ask the right one for advice. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
that's important. Okay,
very
Vanessa. Well, thank you for joining us here. Also, I want to hear your.
Thank you as well. I'm so like happy to, yeah.
You're having a good time.
This, and really happy with the book as well. Like I'm super excited about that.
You know what? We're gonna create more of those books. There, it's a wonderful book, by the way, and I love your advice in it. That advice helps. Writing things down and organizing things into something people can have. That can change a life.
It can just share it with the world, and you put it all in there. It's so amazing. It's really good to be part of something that's beneficial to a lot of people.
Thank you for sharing that. So, what can we expect from you? What are you gonna do more of in 2020? It's the time for the Visionaries, and it's also the time to toot the train. You know, going forward. So,
yes.
You said you're doing some singing. What can we expect from you? What are you going to?
Well, there's going to be a lot more dancing for sure. Yeah, and there's also going to be a lot more singing, and yeah, I can't really tell much about the music project that I'm working on, but we're going forward. So there's.
What is a music project?
It is a heavy metal project. Yes, I'm really excited about that. So we're working on it. So it's all work in progress. Yes. And a lot more poetry as well. There's also going to be that.
That's mainly on the YouTube channel and Instagram channels, right?
Yes, I put everything there.
Yes, so we have it, so we can share it. And are we going to have Elvish lessons soon? Because that was my vision now. You know, you're caught in my web. No, I'm kidding.
Well, now that you're mentioning it, you're giving me a good idea to actually start doing that. So, thank you.
Have the time and you can have enjoyment with it. I would love to learn some Elvish. I secretly practiced actually to teach myself a little bit Elvish back in the day. Suddenly realized, who the fuck am I going to talk that language to? And I didn't keep on the practice. Something else got important. So I told myself, so I would love to bring that back up. Also because learning a new language, and I'm so fascinated that you've done this. So that motivates me. And fascinated to learn a new language, to see things from a new point of view. Every time you see things from a new point of view, from a new state of mind or something, my life changes. So I'd really love to learn the language there. Okay, so we got maybe some Elvish lessons coming up. What about the singing going on, the dancing going on? Where are you living? How about maybe some guys are listening? I mean,
well, I'm living in Aalborg, or at least very close to Aalborg.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they might meet you there.
They might meet me. They're definitely gonna meet me somewhere in the fitness center and the dance classes. So yeah. Okay. And a metal concerts as well. I've been doing some volunteer a few years back, so I might, if I have time, I might actually volunteer again at Aalborg Metal Festival.
Okay. And the carnival? You're gonna come to the carnival?
Yes, I'm going to dance at the carnival. That's the plan. We're going to be dancing samba. It's just two different worlds, heavy metal and samba.
Yes.
But they're beautiful together when they melt.
Right.
But that's another story.
I'll have to see that before I believe you on that one. So, you know, you got some proving. So that's the vision. So, and you're teaching. Are you going to continue as a teacher? Is something?
Yes, I love teaching. I would never give that up.
Yeah. Very good.
It adds so much more to my life that I feel like, yeah, it's the air that I breathe. That's how I would put it.
Huh, it's a beautiful way of putting it. Okay, got a lot to look forward to. Do you do, just to end it off here, because I have a little challenge. I do a lot of the Wim Hof breathing methods and ice bath, and I know in Aalborg there's this Kritgrav, and it's cold. So do you do ice bath? Do you do?
Oh man, that would be a challenge for me to try that. Oh shit. Yeah. I might do it, but I'm not gonna promise.
Okay.
I'm really bad with the like cold water and this cold environment.
You're in the right place. It never gets cold in Denmark. I mean, oh, maybe it is really cold in Denmark. That's the way it goes. Okay, Alexandra, love to have you on the show here. I'd love to have you on and hear more about what you're doing. If anybody here is curious about what she does, there's going to be links below here under the podcast, and you'll have to send me those so I have them again. Updates, and yeah, so you can check out her content. She's on Instagram, I know for sure. And your nickname there is Aurora
Vanessa.
Aurora Vanessa. There'll be for that. You also on YouTube. I know you have poetry on YouTube for sure.
Yes, so I'm working on a video, so it's gonna pop out soon.
Awesome, and looking forward to see more of that. So that's good. That's good. I don't think we have any more. Thank you very much for joining. What time?
Thank you as well.
What's the time? How have we been?
I think we've been there for a while.
Okay, I'm going to stop it.
It's been amazing being here, so thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, take care, everyone. See you on the next